All systems should be go. All right, perfect. Then it looks like we are live. And welcome to the Daily Space Weather Show. This is going to be a lot different than what you're used to because although we are very much set up for live streaming, we haven't been doing live streams for the Daily Space Weather videos. So it has to do with different features being available and not available and so forth. So that's basically what it boils down to. Today will be interesting because you'll be able to ask questions. You can even join the Discord chat once that's posted in the comments section. We do have a voice channel if you'd like to if you dare to be on the channel live. You can join the Discord voice chat. So yeah, that link will be below the video in the comments section for the live stream. So yeah, and you'll also get to see a little bit about how the videos are created because I'm not done making today's content. So you'll get to see me go through all of the weather stuff like I'm doing right now. And I'll even allow you to see how well, not exactly how, but you'll see sort of part of the process of creating the solar imagery that we make daily on the channel. So this will actually save me a slight bit of time, folks, because well, I can go through it forward a little bit more quickly. And the reason I go through it backwards is because, keep in mind, folks, when you do a thing like this, everything is already expired by the time it comes on people's TV screen or whatever screen they're watching it on. And because of that, SNN realizes that that's a thing that we have to deal with. So, of course, ultimately the present is always expiring, right? So, yes, thanks to everybody leaving comments there. And there's the link to the Discord chat. I'll pin that. So that's visible there. Yeah, so if you join the Discord chat, just let us know as I don't have my earpiece in. So, but you just join the voice chat on the Smash Team channel, and also welcome Mr. Bordages. Mr. Bordages, champion slopestyle ski instructor. If you'd like to hire him, it's expensive, but do it anyway. Learn how to do slopestyle via Mike Bordages. Yes, there's a free plug for you there, Mike. And yeah, you can also hire him to drone your event. So, cheers. We do have some lightning in the Gulf. So yeah, this is what I look at every day, folks. This is what I get to see. I very fast at being able to go through this stuff because, of course, it is done on the regs. And just setting up the forecast maps that you see every day on the channel and so forth. Meanwhile, the HelioViewer videos are processing. So, I shouldn't say that. They're actually processed. So I can cut to that. You'll see some of the inner workings of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news today. So there's the software that we use for it, and I'll keep that off screen. But yeah, so you get to see some of how the sausage is made, and let me tell you, folks, running a YouTube channel is so glamorous. Oh my God, it's just for the glamour. I mean, it's only the glamour that keeps us going here. So yeah, there's what our HelioViewer portal looks like, and you're going to have limited views of the sun today because I didn't make as many videos as I usually do, and that's because of running late. So, but I'll catch up by having the stream done by the time it would normally be on your screens or something like that. So, just downloading all of our videos here. Yeah, you get to see all of the exciting process. And believe me, it's exciting. Oh my God, it's so exciting. My blood pressure, it's just all over the place, folks. Oh dear God. So yeah, just downloading all the videos here to show you rubes later. Just kidding, folks. Of course, our viewers are not rubes. However, you should start using the term rubes because that's a brilliant term. Rubes. Go ahead, say it aloud. I dare you. Rubes. So I'm going to stop showing you that and put the forecast back up. And I'll just keep showing you useful information here while I finish up the rest of the little behind-the-scenes stuff. Of course, if you're wondering what browser I use, I'm using actually two browsers at the same time here. That allows me to have this sort of two separate slideshows going on at the same time, give or take. I display the videos in Google Chrome, interestingly. And let's see, I use Opera Gaming Browser for the other tabs because it's very efficient. You know, gamers, we demand systems that work well, so that's why that's done. So anyway, here I'm making the rest of our forecasts, and today I see, what do I see? A bunch of flooding. So let's include the total accumulated precip forecast. And for our regular viewers, you'd be well aware that we show 72-hour forecasts because they're accurate. Now, I don't save those GIFs, but all those GIFs of the sun that we're making every day, check this out. Here's this folder for which there's a shortcut on the desktop, and check out the number of sun videos I have. Watch this. Just thousands, at least hundreds. But yeah, lots and lots and lots. And that's only a few months. I mean, we haven't even been making our compilation videos or adding any soundtracks or anything. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Okay, don't worry, I'll show you. Check it out. So look at this folder. This folder has a lot of space weather videos and a lot of sun videos. It won't even let me scroll it. I'm trying to smooth scroll it for you so you can actually see how many that is, but here's page up. That's a lot of videos. So I guess I should make a compilation. Just kind of toss them all in there or something like that. Not even worry about doing much with them. Just throw them all in some kind of video thing and just make a mashup. Because it'll be in roughly chronological order if I do that, I think. So anyway. But I digress. So back to the weather forecasts. We'll also show temperature anomaly. So there's that. And we'll coherently go through these in the normal fashion that you're used to seeing on the daily space weather content. Once again, thanks to everybody who's leaving comments. And of course, if you've got any questions or anything like that, feel free to let us know there. Yeah, Vast Thinker, I don't know about dropping all the data in analyzing software because I'm the analyzing software, so I definitely don't need that. That's the point of the videos, okay? So part of the reasoning is that I'm showing the information that I want to see. So first of all, there was a shortage of good space weather content. There is no good daily space weather content besides our channel, last I checked. So, I mean, I'd always be interested to see one, but I'm always highly disappointed with what's out there. And it continues to this day, I mean, except for Tamitha Skov, but that's not daily space weather content. So, what can you say? So, you know, there are certain things that I want to be looking at and that I realize that our viewers and the market wants to be looking at. And of course, things that people in the US and the rest of the world want to be looking at. So that's why those things are covered. Today we'll look at snow depth on our windy.com map. Here's our satellite map that we show daily. Love that. Just love it. Oh, it's so good. So delighted to show the visible satellite instead of the shortwave radiation. I mean, shortwave radiation is cool when it's nighttime and you have to know if there are clouds. But besides that, not that cool. Today we'll look at pressure. It does drive weather systems after all. And of course, people tend to be obsessed with low pressure. somehow downplaying the effects of high pressure, not realizing that these things are yins and yangs of each other. And so, of course, without one, the other one is meaningless. Anyway, just backing up through the tabs. Now, some of these auto-refresh, like the Space Weather Modeling Framework tabs, not the Space Weather Modeling Framework, the Space Weather Prediction Center tabs, SPSC, swoopsy, as Tamitha Skov and others call it, because you got to have a shortened name for everything. The swoopsy site, the Space Weather Prediction Center. Now, this one isn't Space Weather Prediction Center. This is Kimberly's countryman, Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. Of just my visual aid, not to be confused with my flamin' aids. You know, home health aids? Yeah, they set themselves on fire for my amusement. Don't worry, they're wearing flame retardant suits, and I think you're still allowed to say the word retardant. Retardant. I've said it. Dear God, I've said it. Let me put up the GOES 16 here while well, let's put up something we don't normally show. How about 284 angstroms? There you go. There's something different. And hold on, folks. I'll get to your comments here in just a moment. I see you're leaving comments. Thanks for leaving them. I'll get to them. I swear to God. All right, so let me drop those videos in a haphazard fashion. Just kidding, folks. I'll be very, very careful about dropping those videos. Ooh, I'm going to pussyfoot around. I'm going to tiptoe on eggshells. Ooh. Everything will be in a completely different order because reasons. It's good to come out of your routine, folks. Remember, if you stay in your comfort zone, you will be weak and pathetic. Weak and pathetic. So, exit your comfort zone or die. Evolve or die. No, seriously, like the universe demands this. So, I mean, you can be like, I don't want to evolve or die, but you're not really going to have a choice in the matter. So, you know, because cosmic ray flux is going to make you evolve regardless. You're literally not the same person you were when you were born. How do you like that? Does that freak you out? I hope not, because that's just, them is just basic facts. And these are the shallow thoughts I have while creating the daily space weather. I think of people like you looking at videos like this and going, oh, thank you for not sprinkling utter nonsense into your video. And you're welcome. So again, this is the stuff that I would want to be looking at. So that's why it's sort of formatted the way it is. And yeah, I'm just dropping the videos here in Chrome while you stare at the 284 angstroms wavelength and go ooh and ah and things. And yes, everything is in a completely different order now. But check it out, folks. I got some dope footage already. It's so good. It's so good. It's enough to have you lost in space. So check this out. Yowzers! Some close-ups. Dear God. And we'll get to that in a minute. But first, some more going backwards through all the data. Yeah, backwards through all the data. That way the first thing we show is kind of like the newest. So check it out. We've got a bunch of filaments and stuff. And of course, we'll cover that and much more. Let me get to your comments here briefly. Oh, let's bring up this Cerro Tololo, Chile hydrogen alpha imagery. There we go. That's pretty good. Look at that filament that's rising over the northeast. That's enough to earn a name, right? All right, let me check out your comments here. Mikey Biz says, "Oh, live means we may see Dan Space Weather rage. Space! I'm so mad about space! I'll get you, space!" Now that I got that out of my system, my voice is, it's gonna survive the day. Don't worry. All right, so what else do we got? How dare you suggest that my hypotheses aren't complete? Yes. There is some funny stuff on the internet. Have you had too much internet? Well, that's on you, man. Like, you're not forced to watch. And by the way, the channel is not for everyone. Like, there are people who can't handle the channel because, for example, people are going to come up with extraordinary claims, and I'm going to say, please provide the requisite extraordinary evidence for the extraordinary claims. Shall we do that? No? Well, then I don't believe your extraordinary claims. That's the problem. So, of course, we hear lots of those. Everything from Nibiru to chemtrails to cosmology nonsense to it's a deep well. A deep well. I think somebody unsubscribed from the channel because they thought we're devil worshippers. I mean, it's when you have as many cultists as you have right now on planet Earth, they really want to box you. Everybody wants to box each other up on the internet and go, I'm going to make 1,000,000 assumptions about somebody without knowing anything about them. And that is an unwise move. That is how you get garbage in and garbage out, right? Your math will be correct, but if you have garbage in, you'll have garbage out of your code. That's computer programmer nerd stuff. You know, your computer's not going to make a mathematical error. The error is in the code you wrote. So if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. And by the way, even if you put garbage variables in good code, you still get garbage out. That's how important output is. Yeah, output. It's called results. Results, you know, being able to do things like forecast stuff, understanding the physical correlations between certain points of data and how they relate to reality. Folks, you realize that the line between hallucination and delusion is nothing more than belief. In other words, if you think you see a thing, let's say you think a mailbox is really a guy on a pogo stick, right? If you think a mailbox is really a guy on a pogo stick at half a mile, okay, maybe. But what if you're like 5 feet away? You still believe that the mailbox is a guy on a pogo stick? You've suffered from delusion. You've believed your hallucination to be real. Whereas if you just have a hallucination and you go, oh, that's funny, I thought the mailbox was a guy on a pogo stick. I've had this happen while driving home from bike races, by the way. When your system is completely depleted and you're like, you've ridden yourself to like death's doorstep, you're driving home and you're like, is that a cyclist ahead? Nope, mailbox. Once again, mailbox. There have been some very uncomfortable rides home after mountain bike races. Let's just say that. All right, hold on a minute. Mike Bordages says, he missed a day last week and I had to go. Oh, for God's sake. The things you just type in our comments, people. I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, Visceral Grima. I actually have Faraday bags on the Amazon shop, so perhaps you should check those out. Well, let me drop it in the chat. We just put up a new book there too, by the way, and I'm gonna rep it, just not tonight because I'm so freaking far behind in putting out the video that normally I'm like sitting around eating dinner right now, waiting to talk to you rubes in the chat and watch the video myself. And I don't know why I didn't have that animated. I should have had this one on, but anyway. Mike, 191 angstroms is not a thing. So if you're thinking of the 193 angstroms, that's a thing. And we don't always show that because it's not really, it's okay. It's good at showing active regions, coronal holes, the extended corona, but it's not really, we'll show it just because I like you. How's that? So there's the astronomy photo of the day. It's not too bad. What is it, a couple of galaxies? The Coma Cluster. Coma Cluster. Dear God. Two giant elliptical galaxies, it looks like. Yeah, you know, some galaxies are just shaped like big ovals. They don't have a spiral shape to them. Some are even shaped like big spheres. Keep in mind, a sphere is an ellipse. And yes, by the way, when we get to the real space weather video, we're going to blast through it at crazy fast speeds because this isn't designed to be a lengthy stream. This is just designed to basically, because I won't be viewing it, obviously, because I'm streaming it. So, you know, and for you new viewers out there, please realize that part of the reason that I watch the video in the chat is because I'm not only Smash-O-Mash, but I'm also a client. Yes. Part of the reason I made the videos in the first place was to simply put them onto a larger screen. I had a really crap monitor at the time, and it's kind of small, so I wanted to see the solar images really big. Because I was coming up with some hypotheses about solar activity and things. Basically, against my will. You know, because sometimes in science you end up with answers to questions not asked, or apparent answers to questions not asked. And sometimes you come to hypotheses that are complete crap. And sometimes you call your theory a crap theory, a CRAPF theory, and it turns out to be a CRAP theory, which doesn't stand for anything because it's crap. So that was a thing. And yeah, I guess I still owe an explanation to Smash Team about that one because that was a fail of epic proportions. And look at the chance of the X-flare, folks. Still a very high X-flare chance according to the automated fluorescability solar flare probability monitor. All right, almost there, folks. Almost ready to, quote, start the daily space weather. So yeah, this is what I got to go through every day. I mean, keep in mind this channel is completely unsustainable. If you saw what our operating loss was annually, you might lose your hat. Don't worry, we won't lose our shirt, but we might lose our patience. In fact, we certainly will. Because at the rate we're going, this channel is destined to go out of business or out of existence, or at least as a daily space weather video content. Very soon. Very soon. Because I've got some very important things to do, like prove 50 is the new 35. So yes, I turn 48 years of age next month, so that's going to be something you'll probably hear about. 50, it's the new 35, you know, because if you know anything about bicycle racing, the 35 group, the 35 plus masters racing group is super fast. You might think those old 35-year-old guys are pretty slow. They aren't. I mean, you can't just go race with them. You got to have categorization to do a master. All right, looks like we're back. I see a signal once again. Sometimes you have a little spike in the signal, folks. I don't know. Our internet connection is blazingly fast. So, but that looked like it actually was a spike in our internet there. Because I noticed as that happened, I don't think that was YouTube's fault. I think that was actually our ISP's fault, who can remain unnamed, as they provide an incredibly fast internet connection. We have like 300 megs up and download. It's insanely fast. All right, and just backing through the rest of my tabs here, we're almost at the beginning of the daily space weather video. I just have that ESA portal open yet. Not sure what we're going to do with that yet. That's definitely worth something, though, at least for the Enlil spiral. And it doesn't look like we have any new CMEs there from the... Well, I'll save that for the video, shall I? Yeah, I shall. Now, you're going to notice that the video is not very different because, again, the channel is set up to live stream in the first place. So we sort of prefer that format, partially because of the tension that it creates. You know, it's going to make me say things that I wouldn't say otherwise. Of course, there was one decent-sized earthquake. We're not going to focus on that too much. It was not anticipated to have any tsunamis. And by the way, we'll be having our email alerts come back to the Smash Team site here shortly. Please ask Smash staff for further details on that if you want to know about what's going on with the email alerts. Basically, what happened is a plugin broke, and we've been busy enough that we haven't had time to fix that yet. So we haven't paid anybody to fix it. So, but Smash staff is the IT department. Fortunately, it's far better to be too busy than to be idle. So let's see what's going on Iceland. Check it out. Some lava fountaining happening there. Fantastic. And last but not least, let's put up a different series of images here. Let's see. What shall we do? Can I get a request? What do you think we ought to use for the transitional wavelength? All right, never mind. I'm going to use 131. Because we have had some flaring activity, and of course 131 is good at showing it with its higher temporal resolution. All right, so we've reached the point of the return of the daily space weather show. So it's going to start 15 minutes earlier than normal today, so welcome everybody to the daily space weather show. I'm your host, Dan, aka Smash-O-Mash, coming at you from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And you'll notice that Sunspot 3615 has remained stable here for the past 24 hours, the amount of hours depicted in that imagery. And that, folks, is a serious sunspot group. As it approaches the limb, its likelihood of producing an X-class flare is actually going up, despite its complexity not changing all that much. Now, we are seeing a little bit of umbral migration happening down here. The real question is, are they separate polarities? So here's our magnetogram. And indeed, we are seeing some significant magnetic shear, especially around this area right here. So there is some activity happening there. As quiet as it might look in the continuum, it's not really that quiet. So once again, there's the magnetogram. Just awesome imagery there from Solar Dynamics Observatory's HMI instrument. Next, we'll briefly show you filaments here. That's the 304 angstroms plus 193 60-minute running difference. And we did have one CME. I believe it came out of the west. We'll get to it. But first, there's our 131 angstroms wavelength. And let's take a brief look at planet Earth. But first, press the like button if you haven't done so. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe. Do yourself a favor and get the world's most comprehensive daily space weather content and detailed solar imagery delivered right to your YouTube subscription feed. If not, visit the links below the video. Press the like button. Press subscribe. Press share. Visit us on social media. Visit our links. We just put up a new book today, which we will represent at a later time. Shout out to Wild Alchemical Spirit, one of our top commenters of all time. She's just spectacular. Her comments always brilliant. So thanks for that. So yes, a surreal scene continues in Iceland. Check it out. Some lava spattering down the cinder cone there as new real estate forms. Real estate, it's getting exciting, folks. It's getting exciting. And you don't even you have no idea, folks. There's a there's a Smash Team Observatory that's in the works. And yeah, I'm taking you to space in a lot of ways. So, yeah. The channel's just barely begun to exist. And it's just good times. So anyway, so let me check your comments here while I'm showing that surreal hellscape near the town of Grindavik. Vast Thinker has an important point here. To protect systems from crashing, always keep your files in reasonable size. I can't do much about the files, sir, but I can indeed, well, sir or madam, I'm not sure, but I can keep the folder smaller. So, and that is something I do actually. I only let them build up in there for a certain period of time, and then I create a new shortcut. All right, and I think Mike seems to think that Starlink is going to be a more stable connection than a Verizon Fios. But not everybody can be as smart as a Canadian, right, Mike? I'm just kidding. I'm sure you could take bubbles in a marksmanship competition. All right, continuing on. These are the other volcanoes that are erupting, and what's going on? We've got, it smells like sulfur, like rotten eggs, Marion. And some people have had to evacuate certain areas because of volcanic gases. They're not so good to inhale. They can kill you. They have a tendency to hug the ground depending on which gases we're talking about. So check it out. Askja. I ask you this. Did you know Askja in central Iceland is now got a seismic swarm underneath it? Dag. If you're a Norseman, it's probably a pretty exciting time for you. Also, Ibu's erupting, Semeru, Merapi. 15,000 footer at Merapi, 14,000 footer at Semeru, Popocatépetl, 20,000 foot ash plume there, Sancho Guido, 15,000 foot ash plume, 16,000 foot ash plume from Fuego, Nevado de Ruiz, Sabancaya, all erupting there the past 90 days, and check it out, the 7 magnitude earthquake drought has officially ended. All right. Cheers. And so these are the quakes of the past 24 hours. This 6.4 at Vanuatu, that was a pretty big quake. I don't think it produced any tsunamis. Let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect. Or if I'm correct. Or if you're leaving a comment for absolutely no reason at all. So there was also a 5.7 off the coast of Oregon, folks. Check it out. That's a major red flag. Look at that. 5.7 off the coast of Oregon. Now, it's way off the coast. Something like, what, 80 miles? 90 miles? 120? Something. 178 kilometers west-southwest of Port Orford. So, let's hope that's not a foreshock. Let's hope that's not a foreshock, folks. It's a 5.7 magnitude quake off of Oregon. Continuing on. And that is Vanuatu also had a 5.4, 5.0 there in South America. In Brazil, a fairly rare spot for a quake. We saw one in a rainforest a few weeks ago. And let's get back to space weather. 10.7 centimeter radial flux has dropped, I think. I don't know what it is. It's 175. So it was 178 yesterday, now 175. The radial flux is emitted from the upper chromosphere in lower corona. It follows sunspot number directly proportionally. In other words, a high sunspot number means a high 10.7 centimeter radial flux, also referred to sometimes as the F107. It's perhaps the most determinant factor of what solar activity is like, if not sunspot number. They are, again, directly proportional. So, continuing on, Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard here. NOAA's not forecasting any geomagnetic storm activity. And as far as NOAA, as far as the ESA, what do you got, ESA? Doesn't look like anything too exciting on their forecast either. And I would tend to agree. As far as the Earth geospace goes, here's our geospace magnetosphere movie for the past 4 hours. And dag, that's a very low pressure environment. Is that scary in any way? Not in the slightest. And by the way, we will cover cosmic ray flux probably tomorrow. Today just didn't work out for that. Next is our ground magnetic perturbations map, and it doesn't look like there's a lot going on. Keep in mind this is based on a lot of data. So if you have erroneous solar wind data because we have the wrong spacecraft selected or something like that, you may see erroneous data here because it is a model, folks. It is determined by things like solar wind, the magnetic fields, and all kinds of things, electron flux, and so forth. KP index is at 1. That's geomagnetically calm. And here we can see an incredibly diffuse solar wind. Look at that. The ACE depicting like nothing. Look at the low density solar wind, folks. That is like a straight up void in space. Look at that. 1/10 of a proton per cubic centimeter all day at the ACE. But those very low numbers of protons moving at pretty high speeds. Slowly ramping down from 500 kilometers a second. Now at the Discover, we see a signal here that looks a lot more legit. So anyway, there you go, 9.5 protons per cubic centimeter. That's a reasonable solar wind density, which means the pressure is nothing like what it's showing on these. So these are absolutely erroneous today. The space weather modeling framework is based on things like the solar wind density, the solar wind velocity, the magnetic fields. So that's a great example. They have the ACE selected as the active spacecraft, and that's why you're seeing that erroneous signal. So there's the Discover. That's looking totally normal, 9.5 protons per cubic centimeter at 500 kilometers per second. That is a believable solar wind. Next are our GOES magnetometers, and that is pretty smooth there, pretty smooth as things are simmering down on planet Earth following a significant geomagnetic storm. So there is the heliosphere magnetism. Earth remains in a North Pole magnetic sector. Nothing new there. That should persist for a day or two. And then South Pole magnetism will return. Here's our line of sight field plot. And I'm going to get to your comments here in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to wait until we get to something a little more scenic than our line of sight field plot. Here's our line of sight coronal hole plot. And of course, I do plan to do as I promised. So here you go, Bordages, aka Mikey Biz. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram if you don't. You see all of his awesome drone videos, and then maybe you'll too be able to hire him to drone your favorite event. You want Mikey Biz to drone your wedding? Well, hit him up. It's going to cost you dearly. Remember, folks, if it's fast and good, it's not cheap. Consider a Formula One car or a SpaceX spacecraft. Fast, good, also expensive. So there's the 193 angstroms wavelength, and you can see this one great coronal hole here, which looks like a Caltech folding carbine for some reason, but whatever. That's kind of strange. This like straight line of North Pole oriented coronal holes there. That's sort of an odd one. Let me cut to the full screen view to sort of further explain what I'm talking about. So if you look at this right here, I mean, it's really, this looks like a weird folding stock Caltech carbine with this real distinctive front sight on it. I don't know why it looks like that, but that's what it looks like, and it's looked like that for 2 days. So, but there you go. There is that's officially the carbine coronal hole, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, that straight North Pole oriented coronal hole is pretty funky, if you ask me. And you did because you're watching the channel. So there it is. You can see it on the line of sight coronal hole plot. It's just, that's all North Pole magnetism there. And as you can see, what's important to understand about this is that we've still got North Pole oriented coronal holes way up here by the equator. Okay, that's North Pole. These are South Pole over here. These are South Pole. But this one here is North Pole. That's all North Pole magnetism right there. And what's the significance of that? Well, coronal holes are not done yet, folks. So remember, we aren't even at solar maximum yet for sunspot number. So it's, coronal holes are going to continue for the foreseeable future here. You're going to expect to see another 14 months of coronal holes. They are not fixated at the poles yet, as you can see right there. So that's your 193 angstroms wavelength. And next we'll show sunspot number. So sunspot number here is still dipping, coming down toward the average now, as we continue to see, higher highs and higher lows in the sunspot number throughout the next 7 months as we approach solar sunspot maximum. Here's our flare probability monitor and scoreboard, and as you can see, a very high likelihood of an X-class solar flare. So 60% chance of an X-class solar flare according to the automated flare probability monitor calculating device. And if you want to read about that one, check out spaceweather.bradford.ac.uk, the University of Bradford. You can read all about it, and I assure you, it's fascinating. So the proton flux here is remaining like in a decline there. No surprise there. It's going back to baseline state following a rather significant proton event. Actually, I think that was the most significant one yet of the solar cycle. And that one was a little bit unexpected, but there it is. So we've had a couple minor little intensifications there in the M-class variety. And we're going to show you solar flares here in a moment. We're just going to blast all the solar stuff together. All the custom videos are going to all go together for my enjoyment. So here's your solar system forecast. That's where things will be on April 3rd. Mercury joining Earth on this lonely side of the solar system. And next, there's our star chart. The sun just setting here, just touching down as we stream live at the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news. So here's our astronomy photo of the day, and that's a thing, and it's some galaxies. And moving on to CMEs and whatever else. Yeah. Go away! All right. So when I get to the LASCO C3 screen, we'll get to your comments here. So there is the difference imagery. This is from George Mason University. And yeah, that's a nice CME there out of the west. Okay, now let me get to your comments as I see a number of lengthy comments here. Wolt Artie Noob says if you can smell dihydrogen sulfide coming from a volcano, it's too late because it's already at toxic levels. Yes. I do have a mask for that, but yes, I would have to know ahead of time. Might not be too late if you smell it and then you instantly put a mask on that filters organic. Wait a minute, that's not organic, is it? No. No, it's not. It might filter it, though. I think it's actually good for hydrogen. What is it? Hydrogen sulfide. Dihydrogen sulfide? I don't know. Thought it's just sulfur dioxide, isn't it? SO2? Sulfur dioxide. All right. Anyway. The people who died at Pompeii could smell the rotten eggs, but they didn't know what it was. They didn't know it was toxic. The ones hit by the pyroclastic flow knew it was toxic. Yeah, that's true. See, Walt Artie Noobs, that's an interesting statement. I mean, I'd be interested in looking at that, because if cosmic ray flux is controlling cloud cover, then why isn't cloud cover inversely proportional to the solar cycle? In other words, why don't we have less clouds at solar maximum and more clouds at solar minimum? I mean, we should have more clouds at solar minimum if cosmic ray flux controls the cloud cover, right? It's more complicated than that. So I don't think the climate is a thing that can be simplified to this level, but certainly cloud cover plays a role in the surface temperature. So there's something to it. I'm not suggesting that there's no correlation, but what I am saying is that I don't think the cloud cover, because I've been talking to a guy about this on Twitter, a guy who's a legit expert called Tim Dunkerton, and he can't seem to point to a way that cloud cover is proportional to sunspot number. Which, I mean, even the cosmic ray flux, sunspot number, these things only lag each other by like 5 months, so there should still be some kind of correlation in the cloud cover data. So, I mean, I would have to look at that, because there's a lot of variables there. Still reading your comments, folks. Ah, yes. Bella would like me to mention the comet. Yes, there will be a comet. It may even be visible in the daytime, which is awesome, because on April 8th, we're going to have a total solar eclipse. So if you're at the point of totality, if you're seeing the total solar eclipse, you may be able to see the comet in the daytime, which is just awesome. We're expecting it to intensify, so we're stoked about the comet. Yes, stoked about the solar eclipse, too. It's going to have a lot of people tuning into the channel and buying eclipse shades. Hit our Amazon shop up if you haven't gotten a set of eclipse shades, at least, if not a solar telescope. There's all kinds of stuff there. Amazon.com/shop/smashomash. Just put a new book in there just today. If you don't know what it is, I don't know. It's more power to you. Here comes Stereo A's coronagraphs, and then we're going to cut to our own coronagraphs, and then we're going to go through meteorology after our bonus features. We really got to speed this thing up, as I am starvified. Starvified. No, you can't use that term. It's copyrighted. I'm just kidding. It's not copyrighted. All right. So, CMEs. CMEs are what we're covering next. So, here we go. And I feel like I have them in the wrong order, but too bad. So, there's that CME out of the west. And I don't know, that one might have earthly directed components. There's a possibility that does have earthly directed components. I kind of doubt it, though. I'll give it a 70-30 chance that it will miss Earth. 70-30, it will miss Earth. So there you go. That's my guesstimate, and I'm sticking with it. So here's 94 angstroms, and we're going to show you some fascinating imagery here. We're going to zoom in closer. And closer. And closer. And closer. All right, that's close enough. And yeah, it's not even melting my face, folks. It's just fine. It's a delight. It's a delight, like having you in the chat. So yeah, let me get to your comments once again here. All right, so that is where our custom videos end and our bonus segment begins. Our bonus feature starting out with filaments. And check out this filament right here. This filament is getting named. It's getting named right now. Watch this. You want to name that filament? Can you beat me to it? If you can name it before me, you can name it somebody besides who I'm about to name it. So, yes, if you want to name filaments after living people, just do it at x.com/smashomash. Just follow the hashtag name that filament. Come on, Mikey Biz. Is that your... Is what the heck? Anyway, that's getting named the Mike Bordages filament. Because I just feel like being nice to Mike Bordages today, that's all. So that's this one down here in the lower left corner. That's now the Mike Bordages filament. And if it ends civilization somehow, then we can all blame Mike. How about that? Sounds good, right? Perfect. Perfect. You're welcome. Don't say I never gave you nothing. x.com/smashomash. Follow the hashtag name that filament. Name those filaments after your friends, your foes, or even yourself. Look at how many there are to name, folks. So many. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I can count. And by the way, we recommend a high school level of physics in order to comprehend our channel. It's not a prerequisite, it's just a suggestion. For example, if you think there's a widespread chemical spraying program from commercial aircraft, you should take high school physics because you don't understand aircraft tech or meteorology. If you're mad about chemtrails, make sure you leave us a comment because you will be berated and laughed at. Don't say that I should look up patents. All right, I've done all of it. It's always the same arguments. So there is no widespread spraying program. Operation Popeye and Operation Paperclip and Operation whatever you want to call it. Cloud seeding is not a widespread geoengineering program from commercial aircraft. It's just an idiotic idea. There's no motive, there's no means, there's no opportunity, there are no planes. Where are the chemicals? Where are the pilots? People can't keep secrets. I mean, must I go on? I definitely must not go on because it's not worth devoting any more time to such an idiotic claim. So, bonus features are coming. Surface charging hazards are non-existent, along with internal charging hazards. Here's our GOES electron flux, and it's coming up off the floor. Are we going to go into a mad electron storm as NOAA's been forecasting? There's the one-year graph to contextualize how low it's been, but are we going to get into a really, really high level? Looks like NOAA has reduced its forecast here, so that's a little bit more believable. NOAA was forecasting a major electron storm, and we're just going to have just a not even electron storm. And next, moving on to the ionosphere, here's the layer where the electron flux is measured. The F layer. It's like 300 kilometers of altitude. So there it is. That's a thing. And if that's all Greek to you, don't worry. The anomalygram will clear things up. Even if you've never seen that before, there's the anomaly from the 30-day median. So, like we forecasted yesterday, this has calmed down, and now we're seeing a rather normal mixture of both high and low frequency anomalies, as you see on a regular everyday day. If you were looking for us to forecast the apocalypse via the ionosphere, it hasn't happened. In other words, the data depicted here is not worthy of forecasting the apocalypse over. The apocalypse has been postponed again. Anyway, here's our WAM, the whole atmosphere model. Your future's so bright, I've got to wear shades. You should be planning for that, not for doomsday. Although it's good to be planned for doomsday too, but, you know, you don't want to, like, necessarily just anti-socialize yourself from all human society because you think that your cult is really smart. That's a terrible idea. Anyway, here's the sun, and here's 3615. The sunspot number to watch, the star within the star, and that's degraded since yesterday. 100% that has degraded since yesterday. That is still very likely to produce an X-class solar flare, especially because of its proximity to the limb. There still is some Delta class in there. It's still Delta classy, especially that trailing section that I showed you earlier, but it's not quite as large or complex. It's not as complex as it was yesterday, for sure. So, but the proximity to the limb itself makes it a major solar flare player, even if it doesn't change. If it stays just like it is right now, there's still a very high probability that it will produce an X-class event, especially in the next 48 hours. Next is meteorology, and I'm getting fatigued, so this will be rather quick. There are the humidity. There's the that's the mean sea level pressure, rather. Yeah, that's it. The mean sea level pressure, and I'm having a mean time seeing this. These glasses are polarized. All right, these pretzels are making me thirsty. So that's the things, and here are the winds and stuff. These are winds. That's jet stream, surface wind. And back to the jet stream. Here is our fantastic visible satellite. Oh, so good. That low now making its way out past Bermuda. Here's our snow cover map. That's snow depth from windy.com, who's got a spectacularly good mobile app, by the way, that you can download for free. I guess it's not technically free. It doesn't cost you any dollars to download it. Just a little bit of data, I suppose, or something. Anyway, look at all the flooding on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. How about some forecasts? 72-hour pressure and precipitation. As more moisture batters California, mountains are collapsing over there, folks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, mudslides are not cool. Landslides are not cool. Do not get in a landslide. It is an unhealthful endeavor. Total accumulated precipitation map in inches there, showing flooding like we showed yesterday in North Carolina and Virginia, but now also showing up in Maine and Nova Scotia. Look out, Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles. Temperature anomaly is our last forecast map that we'll show today. These are all courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com. We'll close out with lightning. Look at the string of lightning going across the Gulf and across Florida. And here's a real-time lightning map, and indeed, there was a string. It is quite active there in the Gulf. Possibly some damaging wind and or hail and or waterspout activity going on in the Gulf there. Look at that. That is a bonkers thunderstorm. And we should have a thunderstorm of likes by the time this video is over. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. And welcome to the channel, Bella. Enjoy your wrench. We're very lenient with our wrenches. And by the way, they're basically not giving you any power. They're just a status symbol, so enjoy your wrench. We'll close out with Doppler radar, satellite, and water vapor. it's definitely time to close this thing out. So here's your recap. Hope you enjoyed the making of the daily space weather content. It's going to still continue to exist. Probably. Will it be every day? I'm not so sure. Here's our satellite imagery. And here is our water vapor map. Now, consumer tip. If you want to forecast your weather, if your Doppler looks unclear, try using the water vapor map. It's part of the NASA GOES Interactive Weather Satellite Suite, and it is just spectacular. Anyway, thanks for tuning into the live stream. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back while I climb back into the bunker again.